Who wants to part forever? Hey, party people. It's 12 here.
Hey, party people, 12 hit. Who was that?
Hey, party people.
Hey, party people.
Hey, party people, 12 here, and welcome to the 6th Suburban Gooners Podcast. All three of us are here again, as always. As mentioned before, we're on iTunes. You can also listen to this on our website, and when I get round to it, we'll be on YouTube as well. Ben, you with us?
Yes, here.
Christopher, you with us?
Indeed.
You'll also notice when we get it up and running, a new logo as well. Ben, do you want to say thank you to your friend for doing that for us?
Yes. 2 seconds. Let me just find what his...
I love the way you almost thought about that there for a second. I really wanted Ben to just go, no, I don't.
No, I don't want to thank him. No, I do. Richard at RSFC. He's fantastic. Go and follow him. Just a massive, massive thank you.
Cool. What we're going to do as well, as I said, this is the 6th podcast we've done. We're probably going to start having some guests on soon, which will be rather exciting. You won't have to just listen to us three talk about boring stuff other than the Arsenal.
You make it sound like a bad thing. We're like really good.
These amazing podcasts, obviously. So
You're really selling it to the prospective guests that we're going to come on.
No, man, sales is my speciality. Before we might talk about the internationals, which are happening now as we record this. We might not, but before we get round to that, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Szczesny's new contract, the fact that Wilshere has come out and said he wants to be captain. We'll talk about some of the injuries and also the atmosphere at the Emirates, which seems to be the hot topic right now. So shall we start with our number one's new contract? What do you think about that, Ben?
Awesome. He's come on leaps and bounds, hasn't he? But it was interesting, wasn't it? In the summer, the hot topic was, should we get a goalkeeper in, a more experienced, maybe something to challenge him with? But you wouldn't have anyone else in there, would you?
No, he's been great.
He's
great.
He's been absolutely superb. I've always rated Szczesny, actually, even when he went through his dry spell. I think we... that sounds a bit weird, dry spell. I think we... this pod's going to go downhill from a very early stage. Boy.
Control yourself.
I'll try. Even... I don't know if we were talking about this. Were we talking about this last week? Even when Szczesny was at his dip in form, I always ever felt that he was always better than Fabianski. Everyone always talks about Fabianski, how he was playing well and stuff, but I always thought Fabianski's playing well was like Almunia's playing well back in the day. It's only ever just all right. Where he's not a world beater. He doesn't make those kind of saves. The QPR saves, I think we have definitely talked about this, haven't we, Steve? Because that QPR save was just fantastic. And so to see him signed on a long-term deal, which I'd assume was 5 years, is exactly the kind of continuity that we need as a football club. And it's what we need to see from a lot of our players. We've got quite a lot of players that are now of an age where you could see them playing together for 4 or 5 years. So really, from my perspective, along with the core of the British players that signed at the beginning of this year, and there was that lovely picture, obviously, of the Ox, Rambo, Wilshere, and Jenkinson all signing together. If these players can grow together, can win things together as well, because for me, that's the final piece of the jigsaw, winning trophies. Because once you win your first trophy, then all of the others follow. And you could feasibly look at this Arsenal team and say, next 5 years, next 6 years, they could all stay together and we could win a lot of trophies together. We just got to get that one. Just got to get that one trophy.
Get the ball running. It's just interesting, just butt in there a second, what you said about Fabianski. One of the Polish coaches actually rated Fabianski higher than Szczesny, but he said...
In what house building?
Well, yeah, he's very good, he's quick, he's efficient, he gets it up very quickly, but no, seriously, he says Fabianski was a better keeper, just that Szczesny was sort of mentally... If he made a mistake, he wouldn't dwell on it and he would instantly recover. Whereas Fabianski the words I think was he took it personally that he got too worked up about it, and that's where the mistakes came in. So that was his downfall, basically.
Yeah, but there's almost this thing about the training, isn't it? Because I remember listening to a radio station that shall remain nameless, and they had Ray Parlour on, the legend that is Ray, and they asked him who was the best person you ever saw with in training that didn't do it, and he said Alberto Mendes. Like, think of all of the players that Ray Parlour's played with, and he said the best person in training, it was just brilliant, just did amazing things, was Alberto Mendes. But when he got onto the pitch, he just froze. Whereas Parlour said the laziest person was Vieira. When he got to the pitch, he was immense.
Yeah.
And so I think the exact same thing with old Flappy. He might be a great person at palming the ball away from when the ball's being pinged at him from 30 yards or the edge of the box by a team of coaches or whatever it is. But in games, he just doesn't have that mental side. So,
do you think if we were better defensively when he was in the team, he would have improved?
No. I just don't think he's...
You just don't think he's that good, Steve?
No, I agree. I know we go back to that QPR save a lot. I mean, that probably sticks in our mind because we were in Budapest at the time. But I don't think he has that kind of performance in him that'll win you points. I think, like Chris says, he does the okay things okay. He will step in and be there as a cover, but you know that he's got kind of a ricket in him and he won't actually win you points, whereas Szczesny's got us some points.
I don't know, it's interesting. I would have liked to see him with the more solid defensively how we are now. I would have liked to see him play with that, just to give him a run, because he had injuries, and it's one of those things we'll never know now, because he'll move on, and I imagine he'll try and bring someone else in, or maybe promote someone else.
Do you not think it's a bit of a weird one that he even plays Fabianski anymore? Because the guy clearly doesn't want to... The guy wants to play football. He's not going to get that many games, so he's going to be... And his contract runs out. So why not just play Viviano in those games? And if he does well, then at least at the end of the season, we can just say, all right, well, we'll snap Viviano up as a player to compete with Szczesny, with the knowledge that Szczesny's number one, and see you later, Flappy. Go and enjoy your life, probably in another division, in another country, certainly not playing for some of the best teams.
I suppose the only...
And he's blatantly going to come back now and end up saving a penalty in the last minute of the Champions League.
Yeah, the only reason that I can imagine is that he wants to keep him.
I was literally going to say that, Steve. Maybe that's what he's hoping, that maybe he will sign on, and he's a good number two, isn't he? You can't...
Number two.
Who else would you have? I know it's... I don't know.
Yeah, he's not, I mean, the three goalies, we haven't seen Viviano, but, he's capped for Italy.
Yeah.
But I agree, he's a good number two, but at the same time, you kind of want to see Viviano and what he's about, don't you?
Well, yeah,
Exactly. He's going to end up being like Mark Poom. Do you remember Mark Poom signed?
Yeah.
That's not a bad keeper. That's not a bad keeper. And then he literally never played.
I went to Tallinn.
He's a coach, and he's not even a coach at Arsenal, is he?
I went to Tallinn in Estonia, and he's like, there's a picture of him at the airport.
A statue of him making pieces.
Yeah.
The saviour of Estonia. Maybe
okay, so we've...
what the Estonian national anthem is, but I bet it's something really sort of rousing. I'm not going to try and... Well, actually, I am going to try and pretend to do Estonian. And it'll be like really deep and rousing and voice rasping. And actually, the Estonian national anthem is just Mark Poom, he's the best. Mark Poom, better than the rest. Mark Poom, yay. What do you reckon?
I think it's time to move on.
Yeah, that's awkward silence.
So I actually was looking on the Sky Sports website earlier today, just to kind of look at the France score. They're winning 3-0 at the moment, by the way. They were 2-0 down on Aguirre, but they're winning 3-0. And I saw the story pop up that Wilshere's come out to say he wants to become our captain one day, which I don't think is really any big surprise.
No?
Well, I want to win the lottery, but I'm not going to. So, you get what you want in this life.
How do you know you're not going to win the lottery?
Because God hates me. He's written to me and told me, "Don't give up, kid."
He tweeted you.
I'm going to keep spending those £2 every week. He tweeted me. He said, "You suck. Yeah. You'll never win the lottery. You're going to just have to keep working for the rest of your life with Steve." Yeah, Wilshere. You talk about his captaincy, Steve.
Well, I think it's been something that kind of Arsenal fans mention, don't they? You know, he gives his all. He's a very passionate player, and I think if you ignore the kind of difficulties he's having at the moment, it wouldn't be a surprise if in 5 years' time he's skipper.
Mm.
Would it
What do
surprise you, Ben?
No, not really. He's good enough, and he has carried the team at times. So yeah, he's got a good shout. There's others at the moment, isn't it? It's things can
What
change
makes a
so
good
quickly.
captain? What makes a good captain? For me, it's somebody who can organise a team,
Yep.
somebody who supports the team. If somebody's looking a bit down, it's getting the pat on the shoulder saying, "Come on, mate, you can do this."
Yeah.
It's somebody who shouts when somebody's just being a bit of a lazy arse. It's somebody that is going to be in the team every week, because we've seen this year having a captain that isn't in the team is the most redundant exercise ever. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree
Having
with you
Thomas
that,
Vermaelen doing the programme notes, he must feel a bit sheepish writing the programme notes. Somebody's like, yes, I didn't quite make it in today. I'm not quite in the team at the moment, which is frustrating, but I'm trying my best. It's like, I don't know. I've never read the programme so much as I have this season, and just felt like his words are a little bit, not hollow, but there's some, they're twinged with a bit of sadness.
Yeah, it's an odd situation. I agree with you that you kind of need to look at the start what does make a good captain, because we've had kind of quite different captains over the years. You kind of think, in some ways, has the captaincy been used to keep players that extra year?
But it has, hasn't it?
Yeah, which isn't necessarily the right way to go. And I agree, it's someone that shouts, it's someone that organises people, and somebody that leads by example, someone that does run
Yeah.
around and go crazy, if you like. I think I saw someone tweet, I think it was a few weeks ago, saying that Flamini would make a good captain, but at the same time, although he does all the stuff we just said he does, I don't think giving the captaincy to somebody who's walked out on the club before is a good message either.
No.
I think people take too much stock in the captaincy. It's a symbolic position, isn't it, more than anything else?
Yeah.
The important thing is that you've got, through the spine of your team, you've got people that are willing to pull defenders around or push attackers around, or so what we need the Mertesackers to be shouting. We need Arteta's and Flaminis to be shouting. We need the Wilsheres to be leading by example and doing a bit of shouting. We need everybody. We need at least, not everybody. That old cliche of 11 captains on the pitch. You don't need 11 captains on the pitch, but I do think you need a few people that are not going to be the word captain, but leaders, strong characters that are just saying, Flamini being able to just grab somebody and say, you stand on that post now and don't move from that post, and you get over there, and then being able to have a dispute. Because if you have one captain who's this all singing, all dancing, all conquering player, there's almost this aura built around them as well. If you just think about that horrible team in West London, Chelsea, and how they have John Terry, who's suddenly been built up to this massive character that nobody really seems to be able to cross. What happens, as is happening now, when John Terry starts to lose his main spot in the team? People are still sort of clinging on to this idea that John Terry should still be playing in every game at Chelsea. But the games that I've seen, he's not been that great. And exactly the same with Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard at times hasn't been great this season, and yet he still is number one on the team sheet because there's this aura built up around this one individual. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you need multiple personalities so that you don't have to rely or build up this one character. And that's what's great about our team.
Yeah, I agree, but I do still think you need that one. If you think of all the great sides, there's even that you've had Tony Adams at the centre of it, you've had Patrick Vieira at the centre of it.
Okay, name a year then. Go on, give us a year where we've had Tony Adams or Patrick Vieira. Just give me a year, because I bet you could probably name 3 or 4 other players that were just as strong.
No, I'm not denying that at all, but I'm saying that I think it is still good to have that one player, that focal point, if you like, when talking to even the press and stuff. You think of the Man U team of Roy Keane and stuff like that. You've got these players that will grab the game or players by the scruff of the neck that will do that. I'm not saying you can't have more than one, but I do think it helps to have a captain that people look up to?
Nah.
No, the whole captaincy thing is wrong. We should just scrap it.
Scrap it. Chris says scrap it.
We should do what Flamini does to long sleeve shirts.
Oh,
We should
oh yeah.
laminarise them.
I heard Mr. Akers wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah,
No.
poor old Vic. I mean, he spends hours cleaning those kits, and then just some rapscallion young Gallic fellow comes along and gets a scissor to them.
Well, apparently it's like agreed. The captain apparently chooses before every game whether we'll wear long sleeve or short sleeve, and then everybody will wear the same one. So it was agreed that we'd wear long sleeve, but he didn't want to, so he cut them off.
Up off. What do you think about it?
Tradition, I'm all for tradition, and that's one of the things that makes Arsenal great, in that we do hold on to our traditions and we try to maintain this balance between the increasingly modernised footballing world and, you know, our legacy of the past.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, really, does it make a lot of difference? You might have hurt poor old Vic's feelings, but ultimately, does it make a lot of difference? I don't know. Does it mean a lot? You, Ben? What do you reckon?
I don't know, really. You either have the traditions and these sort of conventions, or you don't, really. And
Yeah.
did he need to cut them? Couldn't he just roll them up? I know this sounds
Yeah,
really
that was
silly,
the
but
thing,
it's
wasn't
been a, sort of a tradition for a while. And then for him just to sort of hack it off, I don't know. Like you said, Chris, it can almost become a bit silly, but it's something we do, so you kind of have to respect it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
it
happy
sounds
to
silly.
concede to your
wasn't
better
happy with
judgment.
that. Yeah, I wasn't really happy with that answer, really. But never mind. Steve?
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Benny. If you have them, you kind of need to respect them. I'd never advise cutting an Arsenal shirt up. One thing they did say was that because it was the one with the poppies on, and that they're often auctioned to charity, but actually thinking about it, that would probably make it worth more money, would it not?
Yeah. This
You
is
definitely know it's used.
Yeah, this was the
the one that
situation
the Angry
where
Flame used. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You can't, unless, well, you say that, but they could replicate it and then just cut the shirt again.
Yeah, cut 25 of them,
Yeah, and then auction them off. I think we're getting a bit cynical, though,
so
aren't
we've
we?
gone from
Yeah.
we've gone from oh yes to they sell fake poppy shirts at Arsenal.
Let's move on quickly from this before we get any letters and
Yeah,
complaints
into
into Anne
general.
Robinson.
What about the atmosphere then at the Emirates? Everyone's talking about that at the moment.
You want me to do this one, or
Yeah,
you
go
want
on
to?
then, you Block 5 crazy dude.
From where I am, absolute tosh, and I will fight anybody. I will fight
For
a
no
nun.
reason, you're just
I
fighting.
will fight. I will fight a nun to defend the atmosphere in my corner of the world. I think in the upper tiers, I've been in the upper tiers. I can certainly see that it gets a bit quiet there. But from where I am, there's certainly been atmosphere this season. In fact, since we've been on this run towards the back end of last year, the atmosphere has really improved. I don't know whether or not that's because expectation went to like an all-time low or something at the point where we lost away to Spurs, and so everyone's expectation was like, well, we're probably not going to get Champions League now, and so we need to just get behind the team as much as we can and just accept what we've got. I don't know, but I definitely, since the start of this year, I've seen a change in the atmosphere personally, and people seem to be getting behind the team a lot more. Like it wasn't nice for the Aston Villa games. It was quite toxic for the Aston Villa games. But if you look at the Dortmund game, for example, the response wasn't everyone going mad. The response that I heard was disappointment, but oh well, we move on. And exactly the same with the Chelsea game. Now, that's obviously different because it's the Cock Cup. But I still think that people took a bit more of a pragmatic approach. Certainly the people that I follow, the people that I talk to, took more of a pragmatic approach to defeats in games. And the same with the United game. Or I know it wasn't at the Emirates, but had that been at the Emirates, I just wonder whether or not we'd have still have said, yeah, you know what, we're disappointed, but we've done well so far, and we're still in a good position. I don't know. Ben, Steve?
Sorry, I was just sipping tea. Go on, Ben.
I know when I go and sit with Chris, and when I'm down there, the noise is fantastic because I've always been a Red member, so I've always obviously been scattered around the ground. So when I sort of went with my brother, we're in random places, and as you said, Chris, being in the upper tier, it was very strange because I went with my cousins to the Chelsea Capital One Cup game, and it was peculiar. Like there was almost like a, how do I say this? It was like an element of, we're here, like, entertain us. Does that make sense? We were sitting there, me and sort of Tom, my brother, we were jumping around, larking about a bit, and people were sort of looking at us like we were nutcases. We weren't doing anything overly weird, but it was just peculiar how sort of segregated the sort of lower tiers and upper tiers seemed to be. But obviously that's the corporate section running around the middle, but it's that double-sided argument, isn't it? Because it's turbocharged our income. So you want this top-end quality football with all these amazing players, and you have to sort of take a chunk out of what you stand for, I think, to kind of get it in. But what do you think about... Did you see the Manchester United singing section?
God.
What do you think about that?
Was it 4 people behind David Moyes' dugout? And they were the substitutes?
No, you know the sort of 5 Asian guys that have had season tickets since like the 50s, and they all sit there. Have you seen them on Sky Sports?
No.
No, you'll have to have a look. But no, I was reading a thing about the singing section. Apparently it worked very well. But I think half the problem is we haven't got like-minded people together.
Well, that's what Red Action. That was a bit of a plug there, Steve. That was a bit of a slip of a tongue plug there.
I didn't think about that. I'm just drinking a cup of tea listening to you.
That's what Red Action have essentially tried to do, and that's why in our area you've got people that are standing up, and that's where a lot of the songs emanate from. Albeit I think it's Block 4 actually, is where just across from us where the songs emanate from. My opinion is that it's contagious. Singing and standing up and chanting is contagious as a group. It's that mob mentality, but completely reversely, sitting down, being quiet, for most people is that it's that contagious sort of. I'm not going to stand up if there's no one else around me standing up, and I've felt like that before when I've been in the upper tiers. I've tried standing up a couple of times and cheering, and it just, you do get looked at, and unless there's lots of other people around you, for most people, most human beings, I think it's a natural reaction to do what the crowd are doing. People don't want to be controversial. So in order for that to work, in my opinion, in the upper tiers, there would need to be pockets of fans of like 50 or 100 fans together that are going to do that singing, and then that will then spread across the ground. And I think it can be done. You see it in Dortmund. Dortmund do it. They're big, huge single... I mean, I don't know whether or not the single tier, as opposed to 2 tiers, makes a difference. I suspect it probably does, because, again, it's just sitting above us in Block 5, you've got lots of people in the upper tiers that just sit down, whereas they can see below them lots and lots of the home fans in that corner, standing up, chanting, and where the noise comes from. So, I don't know. Steve?
I agree. I think it's contagious. There are places around the stadium where if you stand up, you get... I mean, we've got an older guy behind us, so we do have to kind of... I think he gets a bit annoyed because he can't actually stand up too easily. So, but I agree with what the Black Scarf movement say in terms of away fans should be in the upper tier. I think that would help. But I think a lot of it's been blown out of proportion because of the Chelsea game. You know, there was a Capital One Cup. There was a lot of kids there. You know, I took my boy there, and you know, there's not the usual crowd there. Whereas the away fans were quite vocal that day, and since then it's kind of escalated. So I don't think it's as bad as what it's made out to be. I do think, I mean, the difference at the United game, when I was sitting with the home fans in Old Trafford, the steward was actually cheering with the fans. And I'm not sure if they're actually supposed to or allowed to do that, but he was walking up and down singing the songs. Whereas at the Emirates, it's sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. So that probably doesn't help either. But I don't think it's as bad as what it's made out to be. Yes, it could be a lot better, but it's not. It's not awful. It's not. It's not the library as we're supposedly called.
No, it's not.
That'd be
It's not
Tottenham.
at all.
Just ask Andre Villas-Boas recently. That'd be
Yeah.
Spurs, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
But to be fair, Arsenal said something like that at the end of halfway through the season last year.
Really?
Something like that, like along the lines of we need your support and
Congratulations.
we need belief and all that sort of malarkey. But no, sort of what you were saying about the atmosphere, Chris, how it has improved, or maybe it's improved because
You're there.
I'm there, yeah. But no, I've never sat down there. I've always been in sort of uppers and stuff, and in the upper, that's where it's quiet, and that's what maybe I sort of thought maybe from where we sit, Chris, if it wrapped round the back of the goal, if they sort of said basically like-minded people who want to sing, clap, jump around, we put you down here and see
But
how
that's exactly what the Black Scarf movement want as well. They want
right, yeah,
a group of people by
yeah.
clock end. Yeah, you're right. They want a group of people by the clock end, and it's the right thing to do. So it's not just in one pocket of the ground. Let's have 4 or 5 different pockets.
Yeah.
Let's have two in the upper tier, one in our corner, one by the clock end corner, and then one over by the opposite stand to us, which would be the east stand. Is that?
Yeah.
The west stand. I'm getting my the east stand. Let's have those pockets so that we've got so that it's not just one corner that the noise is sort of emanating from. It's multiple areas that it's emanating from, and then fans will feed off of each other. So the club can do that. They can find these like-minded people. I don't know whether or not it's this desire to try and maintain an aura of control over the fans. I don't know whether it's this fear that too many fans becoming too boisterous will cause a problem for police reasons, or the health and safety mob have got out. I don't know, but from my perspective, I just think that would be what the Black Scarf movement tried to do with the Chelsea game. They tried to get lots and lots of people who are all Black Scarf movement BSM members into the clock end, and that it was a good try. And I think they actually got stopped for some reason. I don't know the details, but that's disappointing if that's the case.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see it because when I was at the top, I was right next to Chelsea fans, and to be fair to them, they made some great noise, but it was very repetitive. But it was fantastic, and that's what made me sort of think maybe if we could plonk, like you said, pockets around the ground, and it might drum up a bit because it's strange, isn't it? Because sometimes, obviously, when we went to the Villa game, Chris, as you said, it was sort of toxic, but it's weird, isn't it? Because obviously football's reactionary, and rightly or wrongly, sometimes, like, as fans, it seems like we need something to get us going. A pass across, a trick, a shot or something to sort of get it all going, rather than us going in there with this, like, almost can-do attitude. So I don't know. I hope something gets sorted and they trial it, or at least because they're doing some good work, and I hope it'd be nice to hear it and stuff. So
I think going back to the leadership thing we were talking about earlier, actually, sometimes the players can have an impact as well. If you think having someone like Flamini in the team who's going flying in, that gets you riled as well.
Well, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's what I mean about reactionary. Sometimes something needs to happen. It could be anything, and it gets everyone going, sort of buzzing. Because when I went to the Spurs game, that was probably one of the best games I've ever been to. Whereas everyone came into the ground, they were buzzing, they knew what it meant, like what the 3 points meant, beating them, and we just shouted abuse at Spurs fans for the 90 minutes.
Great.
Couldn't talk on the way home.
Yeah,
sat there and just sort of like, oh, it's brilliant, fantastic, but. We kind of need a bit of that every week, I think. Obviously not to that extreme, because bigger games, people are going to be more up for it because they know what it means. But I don't know. I think sometimes it is on us to sort of make the best out of a situation.
Yeah. Moving on slightly, I don't know if you've seen the scores, but this has got to be really gutting. I've just looked at the France score. So Ukraine were 2-0 up in the first leg. They've lost 3-0 tonight and gone out, and the last goal was an own goal.
And Benzema's goal was about a mile offside.
Was it? Oh,
yeah,
no.
literally. He's
You've got to feel for that guy whose own goal has cost them a place in the World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm sure Koscielny won't be too worried, though, after he conceded the pen and then got himself sent off last week. Now. Yeah, He's enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Preparing for this weekend.
Yes.
We've done okay, haven't we? Because Gibbs came on, but he didn't start. I'm not sure if Wilshere played any part today.
Yeah, he played
Giroud
once,
and
about
Sanya
15.
both came on, but they didn't start either.
I know, it was like the footballing gods have shined on us on this day and said, we are
Someone
going to
flushed the
grant you.
toilet.
That would be the management. Don't worry, I'm not in the toilet with
Hoi,
her.
hoi. Yeah.
I am actually in the room adjacent, which is the bedroom. So, just confirming that to anybody that's listening, I don't do podcasts whilst in the toilet. So, just thought I'd let you all know. But anyway, oh right, okay, fair enough. You're speaking from the throne now, are you?
Yeah.
In the throne room. It's almost as if the footballing gods have shined on us, because if you go through the team that we would hope to play this weekend, we've got Szczesny in goal. Obviously, keepers never get knackered, so that's all right because they just stand around all the time, make the odd save. You've got Sanya, who's not played not at the weekend because Debussy started, and then he's obviously come on, so he'll be a bit more fresh. You've got Mertesacker. I don't know if he's played the whole game tonight, but he didn't.
He was captain as well.
Well, that's a bit of a pain in the arse, and Jurgi Lowe should get a Jurgi drop kick. Koscielny, who would have been suspended, so he's had a bit of a rest. You've got Gibbs, who's only just come on for 20 minutes or something out of the two games, so that's good. In midfield, we've got Flamini and Arteta rested at home, putting their feet up. You've got Ozil. I don't know if Ramsey's only played one game. No, he didn't. He was off, wasn't he? Ramsey was off through illness. Ozil was rested tonight, and then you've got probably Cazorla. Cazorla's the only one that's probably jetted off to South Africa and played 90 minutes now in our luck.
Yeah.
And then Giroud up top on his own. That's he hasn't played. He's only got sort of how many minutes towards the end. So it's been a fabulous international break. If they all come back and they don't, I don't know, walk headfirst into the departures lounge sign or something like that in first class, then we've done well.
Jenkinson scored tonight as well, by the looks of it. I'm just looking down now. He scored for the under-21s. They beat San Marino 9-0.
Nice.
Cool.
Touch wood. If they're all fit, we've done all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully Walcott's back.
Yeah, Walcott and Podolski should be back very soon. Hopefully Walcott's back. I'm not sure if
Podolski's it's rumoured that he's going to be back.
What, both of them?
No. Just Walcott and then Podolski soon.
Walcott would be quite a good one for this weekend, not to start, but just to bring him on, because against Southampton, I think they'll try and come at us a little bit more. And in those last sort of 20, 30 minutes, someone with Walcott's pace, if we need to mix it up a bit, it's a good option from the bench. So the hope is that he certainly starts, I think. Steve, what are your thoughts on this weekend?
It'd be interesting. I'm not sure if it depends, I suppose, when he was fit. If he was fit a week ago or something, then he might start. But if he's kind of just come into fitness, I doubt that they'll start him. It's quite funny, actually. Well, it's not funny. Hopefully it will be afterwards. But the guy that Ian at work, Chris, who's taken the tickets, it's his first game he's taken his son to, and he said, I thought I'd take it because I thought it'd be a nice, easy game to get him, into in his first game. I didn't expect Southampton to be flying. I'm not sure how much he played, but Lallana played most of the game tonight, I think.
Yeah, he pretty much played the whole game.
I think Walcott will be rested.
Mm.
But I think he'll come on if he's fit.
Keep our fingers crossed, although I won't be there. I'll be painting a wall, so yay.
Jobs.
Will you then watch it dry?
Yeah. Sigh.
Oh, God.
So what are your thoughts for the game at the weekend then, Ben?
It's going to be interesting because they're sort of Dortmund-esque in the way that they press very highly. Hopefully Lallana's knackered because he's got...
Brilliant player, yeah.
Brilliant player. His work rate is ridiculous. But yeah, they'll press very high. So if we can... But like you said, if Walcott can get some game time, it'd be perfect for him because if we can sort of break through their press, we'll have a lot of space in and behind. So it's going to be one of those games that's either way, isn't it? It's going to be a tight, scrape one like it was against Palace, or it could end up being a rout to us if we play a good game.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Be interesting to see Giroud. Because because he hasn't played, and hopefully he'll be raring to go, because I was a little bit disappointed with him at United. That was a little harsh. He was a bit isolated, but I don't know. He was knackered, wasn't he? So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
I understand what you're saying though, because he's played so well. I was kind of disappointed as well.
Yeah.
Nothing was kind of sticking for him, but
No.
hopefully, he'll have got some rest and he'll be okay. Because I think you picked up in the blog this morning, Chris, where he said he's ready to go on the pitch and die for France tonight.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
So I'm glad they didn't start him, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, please don't die. We'd definitely buy someone.
We could really, imagine that. Mind you, actually, I think the charred and tarnished corpse of Olivier Giroud would be a step up from what Nicolas Bentner could provide right now. So,
actually, Nicolas Bentner could play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. He told me himself.
Yeah, on FIFA.
No, I'm not even sure on FIFA either, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Before we close off, I just looking at the scores again, and Sweden are out. Portugal went through. Ronaldo scored a hat-trick, so although Zlatan might not do auditions, he's not going to get on the big stage either, is he?
No, we should have stayed at Arsenal. That's not related whatsoever to the fact that your national team's just gone out. But you should have stayed at Arsenal, because something might have happened. The fates might have aligned on this weekend.
So Ben, have you got anything to say before we close off?
I am just going to give a shout out to a gentleman called Shane Lynch, who I was talking to on the Facebook site, and I think he sent our first ever question in.
Yep, Mystic Gooner.
Yeah, no, I had a great chat with him on Facebook, and thank you for listening and all your feedback. It's much appreciated.
Chris?
Yeah, I might do a shout out as well, but I can't think of anybody to shout out. Actually, no, I will. Mean Lean of Arsenal Vision, at Arsenal Vision. Top guy. Read a blog today, not written by him, but he gives other people platform to write their stuff, and obviously some of the stuff that's featured on there, like today's one, was really, really good. And I think it's definitely one of those sites that you should bookmark on your phone and read in the morning after you've finished reading my stuff, obviously.
Well, I'll join the club then. I'll do a shout out if I have to. I'm going to give a shout out to my season ticket friend. Season ticket friend. It's at Cool of Lukey. So at Cool _of _Lukey. Big Arsenal fan. Not overly active on Twitter, but I think he will be if he gets some more followers and some people chatting away. And he's got the big Arsene Wenger coat, but he's that tall that it looks really small on him.
Like a boob tube.
This is true. I can vouch for this. I've seen it.
What was the name of the gentleman that did the guest post the other week?
It's Shamar O'Brown.
At Shamar O'Brown. Follow him. Fantastic post it was.
Come on down, Shamar O'Brown.
Thank you very much for your time. It was awesome.
Yes, great post. And if he's got any more, feel free to send them through, because it was a really good read.
Yes.
Lovely stuff.
Okay, guys, thank you everyone for listening. If you've got any questions, please send them in to us, either at Ben Leader, at Suburban Gooner, or at Ove12. And until next time, Suburban Gooners out.
Bye.